Go. All right, thank you for joining us today. This will be the first of a daily update that we provide on the flooding in this area. We'll continue until we pass the crest and we're through the worst of it. We intend to do this every day at 1:30. My name is Jim Pogue. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the Memphis District here. Our speaker today is going to be Steve Berry, who is our Emergency Manager, Chief of our Readiness Branch. He's going to give you an update on the situation in the Memphis District, and then we'll be glad to take your questions after that. So, Steve Berry.
Thank you. I'd like to provide some information on the flood fight activities that the Memphis District has been engaged in since the 21st of April. 21st of April, we entered into what we call a Phase 1 flood fight in the northern part of our district. Our district starts just south of Cape Girardeau and includes down to Cairo on the Mississippi and Ohio, and then all the way down south of Memphis, about 100 miles south of us, and that is our area of responsibility. We divide that area up into approximately 10 different areas that we flood fight. We have Phase 1, which is a minor activation with a few individuals out patrolling levees and flood walls, and then when the water reaches certain levels that we deem to be more critical, we go into Phase 2. On the 24th of April, we entered into Phase 2 in the northern end of the district and are still in those Phase 2 activations now. We currently have 9 of our 10 flood fight areas in Phase 2, with one of them still being in Phase 1. At the height of the event, we had all 10 in Phase 2 operation, and that is the first time in the history of the district we have done that. The river set a new record at Cairo, when it crested at 61.72 feet on the 2nd of May. We operated the Birds Point New Madrid floodway and began to notice a immediate decrease in the stages from Cairo and northward. Currently, the crest is passing through Memphis right now. We did not set a new record in Memphis. However, we came within a foot of a new record. We are currently flowing approximately 2 million cubic feet per second by Memphis, which is 900 million gallons per minute. We have currently approximately 100 individuals in the field throughout the Memphis District, patrolling flood walls and levees, checking for issues, and that is a decrease from approximately 300 to 350 at the height of the operation. The crest is moving south, and our areas are being focused now are south of Memphis in the what we refer to as our Clarksdale area. We are currently seeing under seepage on the levees, so that is to be expected. Those end up showing up in pin boils and what we refer to as sand boils. We use the sandbags that the citizens of Memphis were helping fill the other day. The Corps of Engineers is actually using those sandbags as we ring these sand boils, perform a ring around them to put water on top of the sand boil to stop it from flowing material. We expect to have no significant issues. We have had no significant issues to this point and are expecting none as the crest passes through our district. This time I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
How many levees are having the sand boils right now?
Well, there's quite a few sand boils in the district. It stretches all the way from Cairo down, and it's not very easy to say how many levees. There's sand boils all up and down through the district. It is to be expected. Some are of more concern than others, but currently there are none in the Memphis area, Memphis metropolitan area, that are causing us any great concern.
Can you explain the dynamic of a sand boil if left unattended?
Yes, sir.
What would happen and how long would it take for it to cause a problem?
The concern with the sand boils is that it is the water pressure on the river pushing down into the riverbed and flowing underneath the levee, if you will. And then that forms a channel, a pipe for the water to move, and it percolates up through the ground. As long as the water is flowing clear, there's not any concern of a degradation to the subsurface of the levee. When it begins to move material, that's when we become concerned. We build a ring of sandbags around it to build up a head of water to try to stop that. If left unchecked, it could degrade the levee substructure enough to cause a failure.
How many exactly are you watching that are of concern right now?
Well, in the Memphis metropolitan area, there's probably only a handful, maybe only 4 or 5 that are currently we consider significant or consider that they need to be watched closely. There's sand boils can range in size from the sand boil ring can just be a couple of feet in diameter and 1 or 2 sandbags tall, to one of the more serious ones in Cairo, Illinois, which has a 50-foot diameter ring around it and is 12 feet tall.
50 footers not really?
Well, once the sand boil becomes stabilized and it ceases flowing material, it then just becomes a matter of watching it to make sure it stays in that condition. So water is constantly being piped through and over the sandbag levee that we create around at the ring, but as long as it's not moving material, it's not a concern to us.
Last question. I just want to make sure I understand. This water is not percolating up through the levee, it's past the levee?
Yes, sir, that is correct. The water is going underneath the levee, looking for a path of least resistance, if you will, and is coming up somewhere land side of the levee. Could vary to the toe of the levee out towards to 100, 200 feet.
And left unattended, it could cause erosion underneath the levee?
Yes, sir.
And cause it to collapse?
Yes, sir. If left unattended, that is very possible.
All right. Thanks.
Has this flood shown you any, revealed any weaknesses in the overall system, like maybe shown an area where maybe you need a little more height on the levees?
No, sir, not at this time. We'll obviously be doing analysis once the flood passes. The system is under stress. It has been under significant stress all along, and however, it is operating as designed and intended.
You mentioned right now 900 million gallons per minute. You had some statistics about what's going on. What would be normal on a normal day like in July, August?
Probably just 25% of that flow. Any more questions?
How does the water staying up? I know National Weather Service said 48 weeks for 3 to 4 days. You operating now?
Well, we take our prediction from the National Weather Service as everyone else. It will be a slow fall as the water north of here. The Obion has obviously backed way up into its tributaries. The tributaries in and around Memphis have backed up. So as that water runs out, as the Mississippi tries to fall a little bit, that water will run out and it will kind of make the crest flat. But sometime next week, we should start to see significant falling in the range of maybe a foot a day or more. And that will obviously help the tributaries drain out and get the water off of the unprotected areas which are experiencing flooding right now.
Now that it's crested here, for the Memphis metropolitan area for you guys, is the time of greatest concern past us? Or as it recedes, do you?
Well, as the water recedes, it creates issues in regards to the levees themselves. But that is correct. The time of greatest concern is past. We're in a stable situation, and as the water recedes, we're not expecting any new issues to pop up. However, it is important that just because it's crested and we begin to fall, we're still above stages that we've not seen here for a long time. Especially up north in the Cairo and Tiptonville and New Madrid area, those stages are well above record stages up until this event.
What kind of levee issues do you look for as it's retreating?
Well, if it were to retreat too fast, you could have parts of the levees, what we call levee slides, where part of the side slopes could give way and slough off. That's typical if it drops too quickly. So nothing that can't be repaired. We experience those year in and year out anyway, but those would be the things we'd be looking at. Any more questions?
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had one other thing. Is there any explanation for the visual aid? I know it's in there. Maybe I'm just.
Well, this right here shows the project design flood. The levees and flood walls and pump stations along the Mississippi River are part of what we refer to as the Mississippi River Tributaries Project. And that project, the parameters that we use to design these features comes from this project design flood. And this is how much water that it was designed to carry and live within the banks of the levees and flood walls. Now, this is just what was deemed to be the maximum flows that could happen in any of these rivers at one time. If you look at this, all the numbers will not add up as you're adding them up, but the number of 2.89 million CFS through Memphis, that's the project flood. We're only flowing about 2 million CFS. So though we're close to a record stage, we are not actually flowing the project flow that the system was designed to carry.
And I'm sorry, I have other questions. I apologize. I heard something this morning that said normally it's about a half-mile wide here. We're talking like 3 miles wide.
Yes, sir. Typical flow in the Mississippi River right now would be approximately a half mile. It varies as you move through Memphis. In some places, it's anywhere from 2.5 to 3 miles wide between the bluff of Memphis and the levees on the Arkansas side.
What's the widest gap in your district? Levee to levee?
I would say probably in and around the Memphis area at 3 miles.
Maybe even farther down Mississippi, way down Mississippi.
I would have to check. I'm not sure right offhand, but I would think it would be hard pressed to exceed the 3 mile gap that we have as it bends through Memphis.
By comparison, in 1937, the river spread 80 or 100 miles wide in some places.
That's correct. The levees on the Arkansas side have been there for over 100 years, but not to the current heights as they are right now. They've obviously been added to and improved upon, and the heights have been raised over the years. So that it did spread a lot further in 27 as well as 37.
Okay, thank you very much. As I said, we will plan to be here at 1:30 every day, and we'll send out a notice each morning. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to call us anytime. Thank you.